For the newly indoctrinated, Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files follows the story of a professional wizard in Chicago. We started our podcast as a way to help break down the series' most important moments, characters, and lore. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure at it by your own risk. Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 5.17, Don't Call Me Harry. My name is Tansenn, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
Don't call me Nymphadora.
McAnally's Pub opens 7 days a week. Check out our newest special, Bob's Bodacious Beers, an exclusive brew. You'll be seeing life from a different perspective. The only beer with mirth and girth. Chapter 33. Dresden returns to rescue Marcone. As Dresden is helping him down, the Loup-Garou emerges from the pit. Harry attempts to make his escape, but is too physically exhausted. He makes his last stand using his mother's amulet. So Dresden returns for Marcone and stalks the dead FBI agents.
Yeah, so they
take stock. He stalks them.
It was really easy there. Still dead. All right. Found him.
I'm gonna roll already. Woohoo!
Yeah. So he goes. Yeah, that's when he confirms that Murphy must have stolen. I was like, I try not to smell her blood or to notice the dark surge of contemptuous pride that went through me, leftovers from my experience with my own belt. So yeah, just kind of reminding you that he's still sort of feeling this, even though he's not under the influence directly anymore. There's still that like residual, which again also, lets you know the journey of like
darkness
Ben and stuff.
still,
That even when they switched back, they weren't just like, "Ooh, okay, out of that for right now." Let's, that there's still that underlying. Well, I guess Roger gave us some of that before too. And he's like, "You don't know what it's like. You're up all night pacing, and you don't feel right unless you're doing it." But Harry's got a little bit of.
But even too, like he says, he's like, there's a bit of green goo, like leftover ectoplasm around Ben's waist, right? Which is probably the belt that died when she did.
Yes.
Which is very interesting that you think the artifact would have lasted and like outlived the person. It's very weird that if like the artifact has to be taken off the person before they die, or it dies with them. Because otherwise,
you're right. I guess it
was,
makes us certain because she died in wolf form, so maybe that's it. Maybe it's the wolf, right?
Maybe, but I still feel like the artifact should have stayed then, right? Like it shouldn't be enough to just like, as long as you're not wearing the belt, it won't die with you. It has a new master, whatever, like
pretty strict rules,
right? Like it seems strange that the belt went with her.
Yeah, I guess, but like I say, I don't think I ever really focused or analyzed that part of it or whatever as such, because I was going to say again, like if. Like with Denton, right? Like he's struck down as Denton, and then they go and burn, right? So obviously Wilson's belt was still there to be burned. Denton's belt was still there to be burned. Harry's belt was still there to be burned. So it must just be that, I think it's a thing of the wolf. Well, if you die as a wolf, the wolf is dead, and that's what's right. And then, so that magic and everything like that was destroyed and killed because then she reverted back into...
Do you die in Canada or do you die in real life?
We could test that theory.
So Harry tries to avoid thinking about what he did to Ben as he looks at this mangled corpse and moves on. And even, like we said, he's got the residual pride as well as like the sickening, like, that was me, my bad.
Yeah.
But there's also a moment too when he's almost like, oh my God, like we might win this. No, don't think about that. No happy thoughts.
Don't jinx it. Murphy already did that. Can't possibly get worse.
But I like too that
look at the bright side. At least it can't.
Yeah.
Were you going to say it can't go? Nope.
Nope.
Change my mind. I'm just going to retract that. Nope.
Well, that's why it's so much funnier, too, when they go back to Marcone and he's still tied up, suspended over this fucking pit. And it's like, through all of that, this guy was just hanging there.
Yeah, he's just still hanging there, strung. You got to wonder about that, because they kind of, because they say they strung him up until, like, the back of his, right, because he was just, like, unconscious, so, like, the head was back. So I just kind of had, like, a crucified sort of, unless was it just purely around his torso?
I thought it said that he's hogtied, so I thought like hands and feet, but
I think hogtie is like 3 limbs, not 4.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't even know if it's. I mean, he could be using
Because
it
he was
loosely
able to
here,
get
too. I
one
don't know if
hand
he's-
out to cut the rope, right? So at least one of these bindings is free.
Yeah. Anyways, regardless, depending on how he's bound up, because I doubt they would have given much thought or care to this, but I'm like, you've been hanging there a while. Like, this is one of the things when you do, like, your fall safety training. What is the... I feel like I said that wrong.
Oh, fall arrest.
Fall arrest training. And that's the thing, right? It's like even people that are in there, like they've had things like wear window washers and stuff like that. If you go over and you're hanging, it's like you have to be careful because it's going to cut your circulation off really quickly. Like that's part of the other thing. It's not even like, oh, are their lines going to hold them up for 4 hours? It's like, no, 20 minutes in that harness, you're cutting off circulation to things you don't want circulation cut off to. And so it just always, that's part of the, makes me wonder, like, depending on how he was tied up and like if his limbs and stuff were, right? If it was just kind of like bound around his chest, I'm like, well, yeah, I guess it would be sore like right under his arms and things. But
well, that could actually
would he be
something-
totally like rubber dolled when they cut him down and like
We should really go back and see if it mentions, though, because if he could have sustained permanent injury at this moment, this could give us insight about future books.
Yeah.
About,
I'm going to say no. I don't think that would...
Because I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
there was a reason for Harry, permanent injuries eventually caught up with Harry for him to take certain deals.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, when was Marcone's, and if it was like something like this, like if permanent injury resulted from this night, it might give us a timeline on Marcone.
I don't think so, because I think this kind of thing would have been more evident before things got to the point where he had other choices to make and that sort of a thing. Like, I do get what you're saying. It isn't interesting. I just don't know that I agree with that.
I don't think it happened this early
it's-
either, but...
But, yeah, one more thing that could... make,
Plus, it would have given Marcone something before Harry, which makes me feel gross.
yeah, so
no.
there you go. No. So they just untie him because he was tied up good, but the supporting rope was just kind of loosely. So even while he was trussed up, it doesn't take him that much to rescue him, and they get him down.
Well, just before he releases Marcone, the Loup-Garou comes up from the pit and attacks.
Yeah, he's busy worrying while he's getting him down. He's like, oh crap, I don't know where Murph went. Like, does the thing already killed her? And then it's like, oh no, you're here. Hi.
Yeah, nearly pins Harry by the jacket, but he slips out of it.
Yeah, he's like,
His nice new leather jacket.
I love this. He's like, I love the coat, but I didn't love it that much. And I just like slipped out.
Damn, okay, Harry. Also, sorry, Matt. I know how much you love that coat.
Yeah, I know. Me too, Matt. I am right there with you. I would have sat and talked for like half an hour about the coat with you. I'm just saying.
So Harry runs away as fast as he can, but he quickly loses steam. So Harry decides to turn and face the Loup-Garou head on.
Which, if I'm going to die like a man, and look at what's coming to me.
Which Marcone warned him about. Which, to be fair, Harry's kind of his only way of living right now.
Marcone warned him about what?
The Loup-Garou.
In what sense?
Harry, look.
Oh, just right then that it was
Yeah.
coming up again. Well, because he was doing that before. I just thought you meant like some general warning, like, watch out, Harry, you're going to face this thing in the middle of the night when you're really tired. I'm like, why didn't he didn't?
No.
Just right that second that
And
he's like,
yes.
yo, dude, he's about to jump on you.
Yes. Which, again, kind of, Marcone doesn't have any option if he wants to get out of this. He does need Harry. But it's also like, hey, he could have let Harry die just then. He's got other staff on the property.
It's true. He
They would have taken him down eventually, had the Loup-Garou not gotten to him before then.
That's why it makes me think that he's already got grand scheme plans for him. Like,
Marcone is
just
so,
keeps trying.
he does. And again, I can see from Marcone's point of view, and as we get to, him hiring Guard later on, Guard is kind of his plan B. He wanted Harry as his magical liaison.
Yes.
Right? So it is a little bit Harry's a useful ally as far as Marcone is concerned. If you can get Harry in your back pocket, great.
So Harry considers his death curse when he remembers the inherited silver pentacle around his neck.
No, well, except he doesn't remember it as such. He just went, now what? Did I mispronounce something?
No, it's just a bitch. This has been my mother's pentacle, my mother's pentacle, my mother's pentacle, the pentacle that my mother left me. The only thing I have left of my mother is my mother's pentacle. And he's like, holy shit, I've got this thing around me.
It's like, let me just pull it out for some light so I can see my death charging at me.
But it's just all
wait.
book long. He's like,
Pentacle.
who the
That
fuck
my
has
mother.
inherited silver?
So I butcher deliberately had to have him not use his amulet for anything. in this
literally,
book.
that's how- yeah.
It better be well lit everywhere the fuck Harry goes, because the second he pulls this thing out, if the penny doesn't drop, wizards just know things. but not, like,
it's like, no, but okay, but as funny as that is, and as funny as it is to be like, okay, Harry never had to use his amulet this whole time, no wonder it didn't come, but Harry's gone through like 13 outfit changes this book.
But it's just always there.
Yeah, I know, but he's been like putting his necklace under his shirt 37 different times, zipping a janitor's thing over his necklace.
He just puts it on over, because he never takes it off, right? He got this thing from his dad when he was like 6 years old or whatever,
Just like...
And so it's just constant, right? So I'm like, right? It just blends into the right. You forget you're wearing it all the time. It's just on there. And then, for all his, half of the time.
Thank God the Hexen Wolves don't lose their clothes on their shift. No, they do, yeah.
No, the Hexen Wolves don't, because they get them back when they change back.
Well, Ben was still in her skirt, but not her.
She wasn't wearing a shirt.
Oh.
That was the whole point.
Because she's just like, fuck
remember?
Tits! No, I don't remember.
I was like, I was like the bare legs on the skirt and the bare breasted torso, and you were just like, tits. So yes, that's why.
For her to not have a shirt.
This is you skimming things. Okay, so Dresden just does the same thing when it's always there. He doesn't pay attention. He just skims over it, and half the time his clothes were cut off of him this episode. Like he just kept waking up naked because he was like beat up and bruised,
and everyone was leaving the necklace on.
Yeah, right. So then he was just pulling clothes on over top of it. It was like he didn't have to take it.
Still,
right?
How many times has he been like wearing nothing but the necklace? In this one, this whole book is like 48 hours? Like, he's changed outfits like 11 times. He's gone from his regular clothes to his purple sweats to the janitor's outfit to Susan's black shit. Like,
that's true. That's a lot.
Like,
all while being on the run.
Okay, so he pulls out the amulet.
Starts whirling it above his head.
Wait a second.
We were on topic, honestly. This has been very on topic, I feel.
It's relevant. Completely, totally.
Here we get
silver. My mother's amulet. Silver amulet. Inherited from my mother. Inherited silver. Light bulb. So this thing finally starts, he sees it approaching him and snarling up on him again, and then all of a sudden Murphy pops up and is like, yo, down on the... Oh, this is what I was going to say, this is what I was thinking of at the end of last episode. It's the way Marshall reads this, it's almost like a little bit too calm. He's like, Dresden, I need you to get down on that. I'm like, Dresden, because I was just like, really, when you go through, because I'm like, it sounds so like, I'm like, if you have time to have this conversation, you could have been like, hey, Dresden, the bad guy's behind you, I need you to move out of the way so I can have a clear shot. Whereas if it was really like, Dresden, I need you to get down, and he's like, I'm still doing, she's like, Dresden, move. Like, I feel she should have had more urgency.
Pick up the pace, Marcia.
Yeah, Marcia just had it kind of, she's like, Dresden, I'm going to need you to move now. I can't tell you why. I don't have time to explain it to you in the time that I'm saying all this. But if you could kindly move out of the way.
I do want to say, though, just before this whole amulet moment, like, Harry is like, he's like, does that last stand sort of thing where he's like,
turns around,
like,
stands
if
up
I'm going to go
straight.
down, I'm going to go down as a wizard should, proud. And I'm like, a motherfucking wizard downfall. This pride thing, right? Every time.
And especially when Harry's the one that always does it.
I know, right? He's like, we're so prideful and cool and smart.
Arrogant,
like, he's such a bitch.
But he says it as a detriment when it's any other wizard he's talking about. But when it's him, it's like he seems to forget that. And I will say he does call himself out on it once or twice
and I
later
think that's a little bit of human folly too, though.
It's
a little bit of like, I don't think that's necessarily just like Harry being like, I don't think it's necessarily like Butcher being hypocritical. I think it's Harry being normally hypocritical. Like, we all think we're cool and everyone else is a moron, right?
Yes, yeah.
But it is funny where it's just like, Harry, shut the fuck up.
yeah, exactly.
But he makes with the magic, last stand.
Yeah, he's gonna suck up that last bit of magic, even if it kills him, literally, which it might. But he's like, I gotta find something somewhere.
And like you said, like this whole Murphy scene, right?
Yeah, just gets it going. And
it's like he's like, I've got magic to do. I'm not listening to you, girl. I got shit to do, right? And like he does this whole like hurt thing too, where he's all like, "Oh, Murphy's gonna shoot me." Like,
after
trust
all
me,
this, she still didn't come around. Trust. Whatever trust she'd had in me was gone. She'd seen something or thought of something that just made her think I was trying to betray her. But
even like
Harry, please.
When Harry goes to release the spell too, it's like, I wanted a chance to say sorry, to apologize before the end.
Yeah, oddly enough, I felt like apologizing or whatever.
Right? And like that was really like, like he's pretty much like, I've got one last breath to say something, and like that's when he ends his spell, right? Like he says his like bippity boppity boo and does his thing, right? And like for me, it's like it wasn't because that was the end of his spell or that was all of his magic. He was like, all right, now is the last chance I have. I've got to stop saying this spell so I can talk to Murphy. Right? So for me, he was like, I want to talk to Murphy. Okay, I'm ending the spell then, so I can talk to Murphy.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess. I think they kind of come one and the same there. But yeah, there's a potential there that... But yeah, either way, didn't get it. Because that just, basically, other than his actual life force itself, that literally sucks everything out of him and he just collapses, too weak to, right? So it goes flying and, buries itself in the Loup-Garou and apparently...
It changes back to human form and...
is big enough and strong enough and...
perishes
just
from
enough.
the world.
Just enough, yeah.
And it is a very nice thing, too, where, like, McFinn, he doesn't die as the Loup-Garou. He comes back as McFinn.
Yeah.
He gets, like, almost like that moment of redemption, you know, like as we said at the very beginning, like, one possible version of the werewolf spell is being cursed by Saint Patrick, right? And Saint Patrick curses bloodline for, like, every 7 years or some whatever, right? 7 generations or 7 years. There was a couple different versions.
Yeah.
But the point is that it is a little bit too, like, this almost like moment of confession to God, you know, like in the last moment where he's just like, let out all your sins, let out the werewolf, let out the devil, let out the beast, and he's just a mortal man again.
Right.
And that's what he says. He looked up, and in his face I saw the grief and agony and impotent rage, everything he'd felt during all those years of being unable to control himself. Cursed to cause death and destruction when all he wanted was to open a park for the wildlife. He's like, and then he looked at me, he gave me a small, quiet smile. It was an expression of forgiveness, something to let me know he understood. So yeah, it was almost like a thanking of Dresden in the end. Like, this sucks, not the way, but hey, it's over and thank you. I can't...
Yeah, you did what you had to do.
I can't hurt anybody else now and that kind of a thing, right? So yeah, it's a bit of a gut punch to Dresden, but at the same time, it's also like, hey man, like... don't let it eat you up more than you have to, kind of a thing. Like, this was the way it had to go, and I know why and that it was, right? So
it's a nice moment for both McFinn and for Harry.
Yeah, even though and it really does, like, this is one of those things because McFinn was the worst monster in all of this, but he was, like, the nicest guy in all of it.
And also the, like, only victim.
You know,
like, everyone else chose to be a wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for McFinn,
you know? Like, the FBI agent and all their crazy thing, and, like, Marcone and all his crazy planning, and James Harding III and all his crazy manipulative power and money. Who cares?
It's like, even if everything got out of hand, they all chose that.
Right? That was it. Well, yeah, Marcone and Harding were like, fuck you, we don't need another preserve, we need more buildings and more money and more parking garages for ourselves. You know what I mean?
And even if the FBI, when it got out of hand for them, it was still something that they chose.
Yeah, it was still power, and, you know, they got offered, they were tempted, but again, pre-choice. They made that ultimate decision to go down that path and all of that, and exactly, he was the one that, his bloodline was cursed, and he was the only one trying, like, hey, say, probably other in his line just went, well, I mean, the early ones probably would have had no way of figuring out no way. You know, they would have just rampaged, but, you know, there's got to be that, you know, one, like,
at least the last, probably only his father, potentially his grandfather. Like, it would have been the Age of Information.
Yeah.
When shit probably finally was like, there's records now. There's, like, I mean, it could have been one of those things, like, father to father keeps passing down to their son or their daughter. It doesn't say that it was a male.
Yeah.
But could have been, like, you know,
but again, it depends,
parents and
like
child,
you
and
say,
been like, this shit happens to us, it sucks.
Who was that in the beginning? Or was it, like, Marvolo and stuff like that, right? Like, if you want to make it, because we can't have an episode without a Harry Potter reference. You know, like, they didn't want, right? They were just like, no, this, or anybody else, I guess, not necessarily their family, because they were kind of just the poverty-stricken. They didn't have access to... Are you talking about the parcel tongue? I was talking, not the parcel tongue, I was going to say that attitude of being, like their biases and racism and things like that. But I was like, fine, if you want to extend it, maybe even just to, like, the pure blood things and stuff like that, right? It's like, sure, that was potentially there, but, like, the Malfoys didn't want to perpetuate that, right? They're like, no, so who knows? Like, that long line of ancestors might have been like, dude, we are so cool. We are, like, literally the top dog. Like, we can rule the town because we can, like, rip everybody's face off once a month and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, there was a certain line when the McFinns liked the power.
That's all I'm saying is, like, because you're saying they could have passed down, like, how to, you know, control or hide yourself away. And I'm like, we don't even know that for sure, right? They could have been like, embrace the bloodlust.
I wasn't saying that they were passing down control. I was just thinking it was more like a parent to child. Like, hey, this happens and it sucks. You're on your own.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Not necessarily like, oh, let me, like, raise you and train you into this. It was more just like, this happens, sucks.
We don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, but, like, especially because up until the Age of Information, even, like, a little bit before, you know, I'd say, like, maybe, like, World War I, a little bit before that, you know, like, when printing became available even then, you know, you could have, like, journals would have been a little bit easier to keep, you know, like that for a certain amount of time.
Yes, as opposed to all the ancient historical works we have before. I know.
But
yes,
that didn't stay in the family, you know, that, like, got lost, and then, like, we all went out and, like, stole it and put in our museums, you know, like, it wasn't like, you know, each family has 400 years of diaries, okay?
Copying 10,000 prints of
more
10,000
realistically,
books,
right? So my point is that it's like it's hard to say exactly when they even were able to like be like, oh, we're all werewolves or we're all Loup-Garous. Like,
yeah,
there was probably only in the last few generations when they're like, okay,
yes,
we have a record now that it's all of us getting fucked up.
Yes, no, that's very right. Probably a lot of them was like word of mouth and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, yes. Point being is that McFinn was essentially like the good guy in this. Is that he was trying to keep himself away. It was other people fucking with his shit. And it was him trying to do, like, the wildlife preserve.
And again, and up until thus far, he'd been locking himself up on the
That's what I just
too,
said.
right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. It's like, he put himself
really did
away.
try.
He really did try to not, and then he's the one that...
It just so happened to be that, he was the most powerful.
Yeah, and then he's the one that still has to, like, die at the end to make it all. And it was like, so that is, that whole thing is kind of...
Tragic.
It is tragic, yeah, exactly, but...
Thank you to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us do what we do. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at patreon.com/freeflowrambling. Chapter 34. Harry awakens to find out that Murphy had shot Agent Denton. Murphy and Dresden have made amends and both come out the other side of the carnage alive and well.
So I love again. It's like I woke up. That surprised me in itself. So he's thinking that. So then Murphy's over him and she's like, come on, Harry, don't do this to me. And he's all like,
I forgive you.
Yeah, and she's like, wait, what? Yeah, because she's all like, oh, don't do this. And he's like, you shot me. I can't believe you shot me. And she's like, you should have gone down when I told you to. And he's like, I was busy. And then he's like, but I forgive you. And then she's like, wait, what? Because she's all busy, like, trying to check him out. She's, like, a little distracted for it takes her a second to register. And he's like, what do you mean you forgive me? He's like, I forgive you for, like, not trusting me and, like, shooting me. She's like, you know, that's what I was doing. And she, like, immediately, like, drops him back on an ass. I'm like, fuck you. And she's like, you think I shot you because you wouldn't surrender? And he's like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm so cold. She's like, we're all cold, you idiot. She's like, fucking front moved in and we're all wet. And, like, she's just so disgusted. Like, he's trying to be, again, like, all the tragic hero. And it's okay. Tell him I said something cool. And she's just like, wow, get over yourself, you dumbass. You're fine. He's like, wait, what? But, So, that's when it's all, figures out that. Because I don't think Murph didn't actually clip him. It was just because he got schmucked at the same time, right? Like, she didn't actually hit him to get Denton or anything. No. It was just that Denton had clocked him at the same time.
If
and he just thought he was shot, right?
If you read the last passage, he feels something from behind and not from the front.
I was going to say, that's what I thought. That's what I
because Denton was going to try to...
clubbed him with the branch or whatever. I was going to say, I knew he clocked him, and that was ultimately, but I just, for a second... again, I couldn't remember for half of that. I was like, wait, did she actually, like, nick him or something? But it was
not a death shot. Like,
no.
It was
No, obviously. Yeah, I knew she wasn't aiming for him or anything like that. But I was just, for half a second there, I just couldn't remember she actually, like, had clipped him at all in order to get to Denton. But anyways, So she's like, I shot him. And he's like, oh, give me a break. I thought. And she's like, whatever. You don't think. You're dumb. I love her, going off with her string of insults. Like, dramatic death scene, noble sacrifice, right? Tragically misunderstood. She's like, I understand you, buddy. You're such a pompous, arrogant, pretentious, chauvinistic, hopelessly old-fashioned, stupidly pig-headed. He's like, Murph. So, and then this is what I was sort of referencing before in the last one when it came back. I was like, how it all works out for Marcone, because Marcone is like, you don't want to use your own gun, Denton, and blah, blah. It's like, that really worked out well, because it all went down on Marcone's, and he's like, he's still, I love it. He's like, they just arrested him on general principle. First of all, it's like, we don't know what the fuck is going on, but obviously, like, we know you, and then they're like, couldn't make anything stick, because the FBI agents all shot each other in their guns, and then, like, animal attacks, and even though it was, like, right fucking fucking in the thick of it, right there, in the middle of his property.
Lawyers had him out in 3 hours.
And Marcone is just like, wasn't me. I was like, fuck, what?
And I mean, it gives a lot of credit to his lawyers, but he was paying some of the cops, and he was paying some of the bailiffs, he was paying the judge.
Gives a lot of credit to Denton, too. This right here is why I'm trying to take out this motherfucker with the fucking wolf belt.
Yeah.
Because even when the entire fucking thing happens, with him standing in the middle of it, we still can't prove shit on this guy.
It makes it even more funny, though, because, like, this was Denton's entire thing was to take out Marcone. And you're just
he's like, everybody else is dead but Marcone. Harding is dead, the FBI is dead, McKin is dead. It's like, literally, Marcone is the only one.
We said earlier on that the FBI went in the most roundabout way to do this. And that, like, we said, like, if it was Dresden, like, it makes a lot of sense why he'd have to have dragged in so much bullshit, but that the FBI had the chance from the beginning to not be forthright. They didn't have to be like, ooh,
we've all watched enough cop shows and shit where they just go around and go just...
It was like the FBI never had to say, oh, this is from a non-wolf. Like, they could have just easily never said anything and gone through with it. But they were like, this came from a not wolf.
They fucking just could have climbed up that broken wall and shot him with a long-range rifle while he was inspecting his pit. Like,
they could have arrested him for no charges and killed him at the jail cell. Like,
right.
It was an animal attack. Like,
CIA
no camera,
black site.
They were just like, like, the FBI is completely incompetent in this. And it's especially funny that, like, by the end of it all, it's like, like, you didn't even get Hendrix. The man was wearing his Kevlar.
So that was, again, it's kind of like the way Harry says, he's like, I was actually, like, weirdly happy. I was like, I know, us too, Dresden. We know he's the bad guy too, but it's just Hendrix. You gotta have. It's like Marcone is always there with Hendrix, and you know. So it's like, again, that whole devil you know thing. It's like, well, they suck him as the bad guys, but we know they're just like mobster bad guys. But and then he's still trying to recruit him. He's like, you owe me your life. And Justin's like, or Marcone calls him up and is like, you owe me your life. And then
we get that wonderful line of,
and he's like, Harry. I'm pretty sure I saved your life. Like, way I see it. And exactly. And he's like, nonetheless, Harry, don't call me Harry. It's like, again, he's always got to turn it around. And you just know Marcone's just like, But and then Susan. Yeah, she is a good, what does he call her? Hell of a woman or something like, is that what it is? Because he's like all touchy, like both emotionally and whatever, and he needs to get his head on straight, and he feels bad about what he's done, and and he basically like avoids her, but she's like she let me have my space, but she let me know she was there, like she sent me some flowers or did this or that, and it's like
hell of a girl.
It was a hell of a girl, and it's like, thank you. But she mostly gets her. She was pissed off, but obviously she stuck back anyways, which Harry's a little bit, but she got her.
Filling from 50 yards away.
Yeah, so it's gradient, it's blurry, but
it was just enough
she got it. And pumped
clear.
Just enough gets her name out there a little bit more. She gets a Larry King interview. She gets
promotion raises.
A little bit
Murphy
more.
off.
Yeah, manages that, enough people. This was made public enough that a few people are like, hey, fuck, we gotta just...
Yeah, like Susan saved Murphy, too.
Yeah, she really because that's exactly, without that footage, there wouldn't have been evidence of Murphy, being the hero and then being like...
Now, this is a big point that I want to bring up, too, is that this footage is, like, insane for 2 days.
And then just disappears.
Yeah.
And the production dude along with it.
Yes. And this is a big thing because...
I hope nothing bad happened. Like, I was just, like, witness protection this guy somewhere.
This is the thing, though, that I want to bring up is that, like, Jim Butcher has offhandedly mentioned this in interviews. He's like, nobody ever asked what the fuck happened to that film.
Yes, we have.
Well, no, but this interview is years old. But was years after Full Moon. And it was like fan questioning something. And Butcher's like, what the fuck do you think happened to that footage? Like, it went somewhere. Someone has it.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, guy disappeared with the film and nobody's seen it since. It was wiped from everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's just like, it's never come up again, right?
Who has that kind of power?
Well, who has that kind of power? Who has that film? Who has that proof?
Yeah.
It's just something to keep in the forefront that, like, Jim Butcher has not forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't either. Like, this, Susan's film is out there. Yeah. And it's got Murphy and a werewolf and a Loup-Garou in it.
Right.
It's just something to keep in mind, it's out there. It exists, but we don't know with who.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
That is not a red herring. That is a red banner that Jim Butcher has been like, guys, a red flag. Like,
nobody.
It's come to the point when, Butcher is like, how come nobody cares about this?
Because you've given us so much more
it's true.
have to deal with.
It's true. He's given us so much from so many other books, but it's just like, it's funny to me that that's one of his loose threads that like nobody talks about, that he eventually was like, guys,
hello, this is what everybody picks up on everything else. Well, Susan spells her name Susan instead of like Suzanne or without an E or that. You're like, that's not important. I just had to pick a spelling of Susan. But this whole thing that actually is like somewhere you can follow, and you're like, oh yeah, that's just nothing. That's just a throwaway. That it all just disappeared. But yeah, I know the guy fucking just disappears. So we get that Susan moment, kind of like that folds up on Susan, like she gets her video, and then also she gives Harry his space, but is also very caring in those coming months. I'm still here, right? We get like Murphy gets not the IRS, what are they IA off her back, Internal
right?
Affairs,
Internal Affairs.
And they actually gave her a placard for her door.
Yeah, she gets a real name tag.
A real name tag. So might actually live through this
neatly printed paper one she had to put up herself. Yeah. Like they actually go spend like the $10 and buy her like a
real card. Yeah. And then you get Marcone gets out of jail. Hendrix didn't die. Like it's a nice little wrap up on everyone. And then we get to Tara and the Alphas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we don't know about. Oh yes, we do. Yeah.
Yes.
I say we don't know what happens to the Alpha. They go. I'm like, oh yes, no, wait, we don't. They drag Harry and kicking and screaming internally. Anyways.
You're ours now. We lost our mommy, so now you're our daddy. So yes,
you are. Tara and Harry meet one last time after she's healed up some, as you're saying.
Yeah.
And she changes into wolf form and leaves for the mountains of the northwest. All those people shape-shifting into wolves, and I had never once considered the possibility of a wolf shape-shifting into a person.
And
I love that
I
concept.
know. Again, the first time I read this book, too, I was like, whoa. Right? We all just were like, we know there's not something, like it kind of hinted at all that, right? But it was like, oh damn.
And it leaves so much for future books too. When you meet someone, it's like, well, how does their magic work too now? Like this animal got smart enough to turn into a human.
Are you really a bear?
And to possess magic, right? So eventually we'll meet a guy, Injun Joe, and I believe that he is totally human, but it makes me wonder about maybe some of his other circles, because he has a huge affinity for animal transformation, right?
Yes.
So it makes me wonder about his backstory and all of that as well.
Is Native American, right? And very so much in that culture. That total culture, spirit right? Animals and the whole,
So it makes me wonder, is Tara West really the first or not? Which also brings up, if you've got the Harry... I almost said Potter.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You've got the Harry Dresden role-playing books. The very first one, Volume 1, is Our World, and it gives you, not a ton, but it gives you actually more information on Tara West and her whole thing and her whole story and all this other stuff and, how to play a character that is like her.
Right.
So it gives you the backstory on, more about her, and it is super cool to get that and, I don't know, I'll, throw it up on our social media when this episode comes out, but it's just, not a ton, but it's fun little extra tidbits about the world that the Butcher threw in, and it's oh, Tara, I miss you so much more, and I'm more upset that you didn't come back in later books, which is maybe a spoiler, but she doesn't, and I don't like it.
Yeah. There's still hope.
Right.
Somewhere in the last 4 or 5 books, she will somehow reappear. We all have to figure out how this all comes together. So everybody from every book will just
right.
But I know.
The finale episode when just everyone returns and you're like, "Aw."
Yeah, exactly. But that is a whole super cool.
Yeah, so that I guess that brings me to the end of the wrap up. McFinn. Oh
no, because I was just I think we were gonna go with this the McFinn and his,
which is what I was about to say. As we come up on the end of this.
Okay, so I think we're done with the wrap up, but not quite.
Well, just the final thoughts. You can say it if you want to say it.
Okay, Jerry Springer.
Yeah, I was born in the late 90s. I don't watch this garbage bullshit.
And she died.
Yeah, you knew it was garbage.
Well, I know the name.
Okay, yes. Go ahead.
You are not the father? Yeah, he is. That's kind of the point. You are the father. St. Patrick cursed the bloodline to always persist.
Yeah.
Which means, since McFinn doesn't have any children...
that we know of.
It can be assumed that Tara West has just walked off into the sunset pregnant.
It could be.
Yeah.
Or maybe, didn't you say before it could be like,
there?
didn't you say before that like nieces or nephews or...
It's true. There could be another one.
Because you did say
I'm
there
just
could be
pretty
other
sure
ones
that he said, like, that's that. McFinn doesn't have any family, I thought. It was just Tara and McFinn.
Yeah, I think
they only
so.
had each other, right?
Maybe there could have been
Right,
somewhere
good point.
down the line. But either way, yes. That exactly is my thing. So, again, does the bloodline persist no matter what because of that? Or can the bloodline, just as long as the bloodline persists, right? Because, I mean, in some ways
I think that that's part of the curse is that the bloodline has to persist.
Yeah, but this is what I mean, right? If through intentional or unintentional, McFinn had died as like a 10-year-old, chances are he probably couldn't have had a chance to get anybody knocked up then, right? So he's in a car crash and dies at 10 years old and has no siblings.
The curse doesn't let that happen. Because,
from the way that I read it, Harry
like,
couldn't have defeated him. This silver necklace through the heart would not have worked.
The man known as St. Patrick cursed his ancestors to become a ravening beast at every full moon. The curse came with 2 addenda. First, that it would be hereditary, passing down to someone new each and every generation. And second, that the cursed line of the family would never, ever die out, lasting until the end of days.
Okay,
so no.
So that does make
if
it
Tara
more...
West wasn't pregnant, Harry would not have been able to kill him.
Which maybe explain, she's got like these cubs already. Maybe she's already got some
little maternal instincts
going on.
True, it could be something like that, or it could be something else in that this like because maybe the curse is sentient and it like was able to tell like McFinn is gonna die on this night with Harry Dresden, so like I've got to impregnate this chick like this time. like maybe the curse is like it can see into the future, right? And it's like
that seems like giving a
no
bit
like the curse knows all.
I get what you're saying.
It knows all of destiny, so it's like like.
I don't know. That seems a lot for one person.
Point is
like
that
I know all of destiny, and all I'm gonna do is make these guys get fleas once a month.
Is that Tara West pretty much has to be pregnant right now?
Yes, there is a lot.
Or has already secretly given birth.
Argument to support.
They've been together for a little while, so it's one or the other. Right? She's pregnant or has given birth somewhere.
Right.
Probably, yeah. But although you would think McFinn could have.
Maybe she already gave birth already, and this is why she had to go adopt the alphas, because she's just already so into like mother.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't get the impression that she ditches McFinn for like months at a time, and I'm pretty sure McFinn doesn't know, or he would have been taking steps right off the bat too, because he would know, right? Well, this child is fucked.
Yeah, I don't know.
Its baby crib is gonna have a fucking magic circle around it, like that's you know what I mean. So I don't think.
Is the curse though? All at once, or like would the kid just suddenly get like? Is it more like the archive?
And then
yeah, like until McFinn dies, the kid is okay.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Probably. It's probably
regardless.
Not like the archive.
All I meant was that if McFinn knew he had spawned
fair
something,
enough.
he would have been taking precautions right from the start.
Would have probably tried to push that Northwest Passage a little harder.
Or whatever, right? Like, exactly. Okay. But anyways, yes. And this is why I love that we're getting into the next books now and can actually start theorizing on things and throwing stuff out there. And there's just so much more to talk about and go off of.
Well, and even in the wrap-up here, we've got this passage that's... asks all these questions that we should be asking ourselves later too. I never found out who exactly was behind the warlock who showed up to the previous spring. Black wizards just don't show up like toadstools, Somebody has to teach them complicated things like summoning demons, ritual magic, and cliched villain dialogue. Who had been his teacher? And Denton and company had shown up 6 months later. Someone had provided them with those belts. Someone had warned Denton that I was dangerous, that I or someone like me from the council would go after them. And by telling him that, they had pointed him at me like a gun, determined to kill me. So this has a lot of, in the wrap-up, saying there is so much more to come.
Hello, people, pay attention.
Yeah. And I think it's also
that
like
footage go?
Knowing what we know now, 17 books in, it's a little bit hard to think back to that moment. Like, there really wasn't a universe at book 2.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you really were just like a guy in Chicago. And obviously where we are now...
it's like when you look at the D&D map and all you get is that one room, like, okay, you've walked in the doorway. And then bit by bit, it just, like, uncovers more and more.
It's all
you get
black
this
until you
super
go there.
detailed, like, 50,000 room castle. And
which is why it's like, as you go through the books, you find out that there's other worlds. You've got, like, the Never Never. You've got the Outer Gates. You've got Earth. You've got, right, but it's not just Chicago. You've, like, Harry goes to other cities in the world. It's like, it's really, like, these first 2 books seems like it's just a guy in Chicago.
Yeah.
But this moment right here is just an inkling at, like, the actual universe
This is just
all transpiring
the hot
against him,
gas
you know?
is expanding, and we haven't got to the big bang yet where it explodes into like a million other things.
It is a little bit hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that even in book 2, it's like
he was already
listen, like we're
knew
not
where the hell
just,
he was going with shit.
Yeah, because even I think like when you think about Buffy, like the vampires were kind of attracted to her. Like it was kind of what is her town? Sunnydale. Sunnydale. It was like kind of like things were only going to happen in Sunnydale because they were attracted to the Slayer, you know?
And
like the rest of the world was that
was the other reason.
That was the other reason.
They threw her on the Hellmouth, so they had a reason why every bad thing showed up. It was kind of
like the rest of the world wasn't having as many issues, right? Like as long as like they were kind of always going to come to Buffy, right? Yes. But in Harry's kind of situation, it's like, no, like shit is fucked up all over the earth. Harry's just dealing with a very small percentage of it.
Yes.
Right? So it's like
and he does say that, you know, Chicago is a little bit, there's a reason, there's a reason. More, but exactly, it's not,
but it's
like
not
you say, it's
just
it's
localized
not,
here,
yeah,
you know, in the same way that some other,
to just,
in the way, like even in the same way that like, you know, for whatever reason, New York attracts every superhero and alien force ever, even though the Marvel series never gives us a reason why New York is so special. Yes. This at least gives a bit of a reason why Chicago is, or why Sunnydale was.
Everything happened in New York and
even
LA
in Teen Wolf,
that's where the film industry is flourishing.
Even in Teen Wolf, there's a reason as to why Beacon Hills is so prominent for monsters, whereas the rest of the world.
Sorry?
Teen Wolf.
Oh, Teen Wolf, sorry.
There's a reason why.
We have like a Beacon Hill too, and I was like, wait, wait a second. But yes, in Teen Wolf, that's their place.
They've got, like, I'm just saying, like, you know, the Dresden Files does a little bit more to be like, no, like, this is everywhere.
This,
on so many different planes and so many different, you know,
Yeah, this
levels.
is just where Harry ended up and where he's making his stand, but it could just as easily have been.
Which is, it's both fun and sad to be like, this has nothing to do with Harry, and also it's got so much to do with him, you know?
With Harry, yeah.
Again, we'll get into it later, but.
Although apparently, like, downtown was closed over the weekend for filming, too, or something.
The Last of Us is filming here right now.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if we knew
Last of Us, yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. A lot of zombie apocalypse is set up around the city right now.
Nice. Right. I don't know why they couldn't say that. They just kept saying, and the 4th Avenue flyover is
probably
closed.
Probably because they don't want a bunch of people over there bothering them.
Okay, but they still were like, they're like, the 4th Avenue flyover is closed from now until like 6 a.m. Monday morning because there's filming going on. I'm like, really? That makes you a lot more curious because now I got to go down there and find out what they're filming. Whereas you just told me they were filming The Last of Us, I'd be like, oh, I don't know what that is. I don't care.
Video game turn movie.
But yeah, I just thought it was funny that they kept mentioning it, but they didn't mention what it was that was filming. But I was like, all right.
Ashley Johnson actually voices Ellie from The Last of Us.
Cool. See, now if I knew that she'd been downtown,
she wasn't. She's not in the movie.
I know, but I'm just saying. See. But anyways, okay. All good. We love you, Ashley Johnson. Sure do. And everyone else. So yeah.
All right.
That's it. He's finally like, you know, Mister, I may be getting paranoid, but I think someone's trying to kill me.
Right? Just really bring it all down to Hexenwolves, werewolves, lycanthropes, Loup-Garous. What will they think of next?
Yeah.
Well, this is all your fault, Butcher. What will you think of next? Yeah. Which is why it's so exciting that next episode is Bigfoot.
Woohoo! I can't believe we get to that arc because it was so much later than this came up.
I know, because it came out years and years after. We were multiple books in when Bigfoot came out.
That's like,
is it Bigfoot or is it the graphic novel?
Oh, shoot. It might be the Ghouls and the Goblins. I thought it was Bigfoot and then Ghouls and Goblins, but it might be Ghouls and Goblins and Bigfoot.
Well, it'll be coming up shortly.
We'll let you know. It will be one of those, apparently.
It's something.
One of them I've read, one of them I haven't.
Oh, really? You never read Ghouls and Goblins? Ghoul Goblin? Goblin Ghoul?
How do you know I wasn't talking about the other one?
I know you've read B is for Bigfoot. Oh, you're right. It is Ghoul Goblin next. Right, next week is Ghoul Goblin. In 2 weeks is B is for Bigfoot.
This concludes our episode 5.17, Don't Call Me Harry. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnally's.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.